it's important that we have just enough of this kind of stuff to help our athletes realize this isn't just made up. This isn't just opinion. We can tell you what's happening and why. But at the same time, if we're just talking about intercalated amygdala clusters, everybody except, our biology teachers at some point are going to be bored out of their mind. And so being able to come back and simplify that and say, look, guys, you have a switch in your brain. And if that switch gets flipped and you're in fear mode, you're not going to be able to perform at your best. And so we need to give them a way to turn that switch off and get back into performance mode. And so we're going to talk about what we focus on, how we talk to ourselves, what we do with our body, how that creates certain emotions. If you're on a computer, you want to scan this QR code, it'll actually, the first link on there is going to be get the worksheet. And if you click on that, you can actually download this worksheet. You can just have a copy of it. If you want to follow along on there, you're more than welcome to, or if you want to come back to it at the end, I'll leave that up to you. If you're on a cell phone and you can't scan that QR code, you can just go to mentaltrainingplan.com/Glazier and you can click on that button and get a copy of that worksheet. But what we want to know is, what's the big moment that flips that switch in your mind before or during competition? And, we'll give them some examples. Maybe it's before a big game, before a meaningful tournament game, a state championship game, a big rivalry game. Maybe it's after they screw up, it's after giving up a TD or throwing a pick or something like that. And we want to have them write it down in that box. And everything we talk about the rest of the session, they're thinking about that big moment. And we're going to help with the awareness side and then teach them how to take back control. Next, we need to help them realize, what were they focused on? Because we know that focus affects performance. If you put a pupillometer on a dirt bike rider, that's just a sensor that measures what you're looking at, and you put muscle sensors on the dirt bike rider's arms, when you look at the wall, it actually slightly takes you toward that wall. So what they teach dirt bike riders to do is look where you're trying to go, not at what you're trying to avoid, because focus affects performance. If you've ever been golfing and you see a hazard on the left and you're like, don't go left, don't go left, don't go left, splash. What happened? Well, if you're focused on that thing to the left, or that obstacle, that challenge, whatever that is that you're focused on, that distraction, you don't have the same access to muscle memory anymore. And so we want to know, in that big moment, what is it that you were focused on? Because some guys go into the future, like, what's the score? Are we going to lose? Some guys go into the past, the last game, the last drive, the last play. Oh no, this is just like last year when I threw this pick. Some go external. What's dad going to think? Is coach going to put me on the bench? Some go all internal. They just have such high expectations for themselves that all they can think about is, gosh, why did this happen? I can't believe this is happening. And so we'll have them down at the bottom where it says bottom up, and we'll talk about why we're starting with the bottom here in just a little bit. We're going to have them fill in what they were focused on in that big moment. Then we're going to move on to self-talk. And we know the average person has about 48.6 thoughts per minute, which means when our kids, throw an interception, give up a sack, give up blown coverage, whatever, in their mind, they're not going, well, that was bad. No, they're going, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. What happened? Oh no, what's coach going to think? Their mind is just racing. And so down at the bottom where it says self-talk, we're going to have them write down, what's that little voice in the back of your mind saying? Is it, I can't like that? I don't know if I'm going to do this. We're trying to pull out, like, what's that negative self-talk that's going on in that moment. The next one is body. And, physical reaction wise, breathing, heart rate change, mouth gets dry, pupils dilate, muscle tense up, liver releases fats and sugars. You got adrenaline pumping through your body. And if you can't slow back down and kind of take a deep breath and slow down this physical reaction, it's going to potentially impact your play. And so we're going to have them write down, like, what do you notice? Do you notice shaky hands or tight shoulders, maybe butterflies in your stomach? I've worked with some linebackers that just get their hips just tighten up and they feel like they're standing in concrete. And then we're going to move on to the emotions that all of this has now created. And so some kids, it's worried. Some it's stressed, or maybe they're anxious. And we're going to have them write down, like, in that big moment, what are you feeling? Is it unconfident? Is it anxious? Is it angry? I got some athletes that just get so mad. And what we want to do is really start to help them figure out, what's my reaction in this big moment. I'm not even going to try playing this video because the internet has not been super cooperative. If you want me to send you the link to this, it's on YouTube. I think it does a fantastic job of just laying out for the kids, look, you've got this red part down here, this bottom part of your brain that just reacts. If you step off a curb and a car lays on its horn, you don't have to think, bam, you just react and your body jerks back up on the curb. You threw that pick, your brain said, oh no, this is a threat, this is bad. And it just started a reaction. The middle part, the green part, this is where we feel those emotions. This is where now we feel this anxiousness or this unconfidence. And then we've got this blue part, the top and the front part of your brain, that you're able to take back control. So after the car lays on its horn, you kind of look around. All right, we're good. We're safe. Now I can cross the street. I'm not going to look at my phone anymore. Or in this blue part, we can say, you know what? That play happened. We turned the ball over, or we gave up a score. It's gone. It's done. Now we're going to move on to the next play. Here's our strategy for doing that. So again, if you want to see that, let me know, shoot me an email. I got my contact info at the end. I'm happy to send you that video. Which brings us to our third section for tonight. So how do we take back control? Because all of this stuff down here that our guys have now filled out at this point in the presentation, this is just a reaction. And so how do we use that top part, that front part, the blue part of the brain on that diagram to take back control? What do those tools look like? And we're going to start backwards, because we need to know, what are we going for? Like, do you need to feel confident? Do you need to feel in control? Like, what emotions will help you perform at your best? If you want to feel calm, or if you want to feel confident, well, then do the things that it takes to generate confidence. Don't just sit around hoping that you're going to magically somehow feel calm and in control. No, do the things that it takes to generate that. The next place that, or I'm sorry, the next step is going through the body. And if we just say, hey guys, the next time you're stressed, just take a deep breath. We're going to get some eyes rolling, and they're going to be like, why don't you give me something that's actually going to work? But if instead we can say, look, when you use diaphragmatic breathing, it interrupts the signal that's pulsing up and down this vagus nerve that connects that lower part of your brain. It's the nerve that's responsible for the butterflies in your stomach, for your liver releasing fats and sugars. it's controlling how much adrenaline is being dumped into your body, your heart rate, guys that get diarrhea before a game, like all of this connected. And so if we can teach them how to slow down the activity on that vagus nerve, and we can tell them, look, here's just a little bit of the science behind it, you'd be amazed at the buy-in you get.